Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, a brazen daylight stabbing in a Moona store has left a man in a critical condition and another injured. Police believe the 2 youth offenders, who have since been arrested, launched at the victims with a knife following an altercation.
Police swarm a suburban street on foot as aerial support has eyes in the sky. This Harris Scarf shop front, the scene of a violent crime.
I think for the people in the store, the customers and the staff, it's been very unsettling for them.
Shoppers left terrified by a stabbing believed to be carried out by 2 youths shortly after 12:30 this afternoon.
As a result of them being confronted by the staff, it appears to have then escalated outside the store, and that's when the stabbing occurred, where 2 people have been involved, I guess trying to stop them.
A man remains in the Royal Hobart Hospital following the incident, with another victim receiving non-life-threatening wounds as a result of the attack.
The fact that people are doing this is very, very concerning, and as I said, the best we can do is respond as we are today in trying to deal with these people.
Both offenders were arrested in Lutana this afternoon and remain in custody as investigations continue.
If there are any other people that have information or were witnessed the incident who have not come forward yet and we haven't identified, if they can contact the police or Crime Stoppers.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
The Tasmanian government is contributing $110,000 to Turkey and Syria following a meeting with UNICEF Australia to discuss humanitarian support. The funds will go towards on-ground relief efforts where help is needed most.
We are projecting that over 1 million children will be impacted by this crisis. Right now they need water, they need food, they need medicine, they need shelter.
UNICEF is pleading with the public to donate now at a time when every dollar counts. A 21-year-old Collinsvale man has pleaded not guilty to the murder of escaped prisoner Nicholas Aaron Scott. Sean Barrow is now expected to stand trial. Meanwhile, 44-year-old Moona man David Coles, also charged with the murder, was in court today but did not enter a plea. A third man linked to the death is due to appear in court in 2 weeks. And the Greens are calling for Tasmania to follow the federal government's lead, claiming they raised concerns more than 2 years ago about cameras throughout our state parliament.
There's no place for this kind of surveillance equipment to be used inside our democratic institutions.
We take the best advice to ensure that Parliament House and indeed our government buildings do have the very best of security.
The same company also provides the audio-visual infrastructure for Parliament House, including session streaming. The Premier has denied claims that maternity services in the northwest are unsafe for pregnant mothers. It comes as Tasmania's midwifery body warns more women will be diverted for care with a lack of staff, forcing the hospital into bypass situations.
A day on from being detailed as inefficient, ineffective and dangerous, the Premier is standing by the service delivery inside the sole birthing facility on the northwest coast.
I want to assure and reassure mothers, families that the services are safe.
That's despite the AMA describing the situation for public patients inside the private hospital as a medical emergency, a problem the ANMF says is placing significant strain on midwives.
It means that they're working a lot of additional shifts and overtime. We've had instances where midwives have slept at the Northwest Private Hospital just to be available in the event that additional staffing was required because of skill mix.
While the government has committed to reinstating maternity services at the Northwest Regional site by November 2024, advocates fear a longer wait could mean more expectant mothers face being diverted for care.
It's likely there will be more bypass scenarios and some which may be longer than just a day or a couple of days, potentially up to a week.
Jeremy Rockcliffe stopping short of confirming plans for immediate change at the site.
There are ways to support an earlier transition, then of course we would be open-minded to that.
There are women birthing right now on the northwest coast who are uncertain about which hospital they'll be having their baby in, and that is completely unacceptable.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
The roof of a multi-storey car park will be the location for a new helipad for the Launceston General Hospital. Premier Jeremy Rockcliffe says they'll aim to have the new helipad at the Cleveland Street car park operational by the end of the year. Ambulance Tasmania will continue to use Launceston Airport during its construction. Labor is promising to invest in early childhood services if they come to power at the next state election. While no exact initiatives have been announced, they've committed to improving training and job opportunities. The Shadow Education Minister says making more places available would also benefit parents.
Making sure that parents have education and care available for their kids so that their kids can thrive and that they can re-engage with the workforce is a key priority for us.
Across the state there's a crisis in terms of workforce. There's issues with attraction and issues with retention.
The Premier says it's working with the federal government and local businesses to address the issue. Tasmanian political leaders have criticised the state government's treatment of whistleblower Alicia. 7 Tasmanian News revealed yesterday the Commission of Inquiry has sought assurances she is being treated fairly.
Alicia is being punished because she blew the whistle on the abuse of children.
It sends a very jarring message to any person who's thinking about becoming a whistleblower that they will be treated in the same way, and that is not good for our democracy.
Solicitor General Sarah Kay has said the state has had no intention to disadvantage or punish Alicia.
What is important is we acknowledge the courage of people that have come forward, whether they're victims and survivors or indeed people working within the system that have highlighted failures as well. On workers' compensation matters, I cannot intervene.
The former Ashley employee has been locked in a workers' compensation battle with the state government for 3 years. Well, earlier this week, we revealed the financial struggles some Tasmanian charities are facing, having to dispose of unusable donations. Today, they've been offered a helping hand from the state government to offset landfill costs, freeing up funds for those in need.
Supporting a sector giving unwanted items a new home. The state government's launching a rebate program to help organisations recover landfill costs from throwing away unusable donations.
It's a burden for their operations and it impacts on the very important work that they do in our community.
The 36,000 tonnes of donations we process every year with an 86% reuse and recycling rate out of those goods.
Registered and approved organisations will get a refund of 100% of their landfill levy costs.
People often will leave their rubbish at these shops. Now, the whole point of the program that the Rockcliffe government is supporting through the Waste Board is to give money back to those charities.
While the program will help offset the costs of throwing away unusable goods, charities are reminding Tasmanians to think before they donate and ask the question, would you give this item to friends and family?
There's a very small minority of people who are either careless or who are doing the wrong thing in terms of using our charities to dump stuff.
We do encourage donations in our shops or in the recycling bins. Responsible donating is what it's all about, so quality items is what really keeps us going as a sector.
People are encouraged to donate goods during business hours and when using a charity bin to make sure items are put inside and not left outside. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmanian News.
Workers in our local tourism and viticulture sectors have an opportunity to cross the ditch later this year. Rotary is leading a professional development exchange to New Zealand's North Island in June. Those selected will stay with Rotary members and learn more about local industry and culture, with a Kiwi group to also visit Tasmania.
We'll be taking 4 in at the same time from New Zealand, so that's where we get this true exchange. And so they learn from us, we learn from them.
They build a good bond as a team, they build lifelong friendships in the country they visit as well, and it certainly has helped them professionally.
Applicants must be aged between 25 and 40, with the forms available on Rotary Tasmania's website. Entries close on February 28. While getting a job is meant to earn you money, some Tasmanians say it's going to cost them in the long run. They're calling for more help with some of the financial hurdles to help them make a successful return to work.
After 10 years out of the workforce, Drew wants to get a job.
Well, I could get my car going again for starters. Just more financial security, basically. Especially I've got 3 young kids, so I'd be able to take them out more.
The problem is his rent will go up as it's tied to his income, and he'll lose some healthcare concession support. He's worried about finding a good enough job to make up for that.
So I'll be starting at the bottom again, and I'm not going to find too many jobs, 800 clear a week.
It's a case of, well, you either take the employment with the conditions that are being offered, lose potentially some of those concessions, have to pay more income, and then you're really on your own during that period.
There is a gradual reduction in benefits after employment, but every day Kingston Neighbourhood House sees people navigate the financial challenges of finding work, and they're calling for more help.
And that will mean they need the support of Centrelink and other agencies to enable their dreams to become a reality in the employment sphere.
The Tasmanian Council of Social Services wants to see the state concession system reviewed so more people on low incomes can access it.
We really don't think it's fit for purpose at the moment. A lot of people are missing out, and the concessions available just aren't enough to really address the cost of living issues people are experiencing.
Minister Street says the government will work with social service providers to ensure their targeted support is received. Advocacy groups say long-term supports will help more people have a successful return to employment, ultimately keeping them off welfare and building our workforce. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Party in the Paddock has returned, with thousands of festival goers making the most of the first day. Enjoying local and international music acts, organisers are thrilled to be back with some new additions to this year's lineup.
The biggest party is back in the Paddock at its new home at Quercus Park. And after a 3-year hiatus, the good times are here to stay.
Feels amazing. Yeah, I'm so glad it's back.
I feel like I'm at home again.
Feels really special to be back. It's very surreal. It's actually our 10th year anniversary, so let's see if we can do it for another 10.
Celebrating the decade-long event, the weather turned it on.
The festival gods have answered our prayers and it's looking lovely.
But it wasn't so lovely getting into the paddock with traffic banked up for hours, forcing festival goers to travel by foot. Finally, through the gates, the party started.
We can't wait for a massive crowd tonight. We've got Venga Boys, we've got the presets, we've got a really big night tonight, and we can't wait to see everybody again.
Homegrown Aussie talent Savage Honey will perform at the Vibestown stage tomorrow for their first ever festival.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's like lifelong childhood dreams sort of stuff. So we're just absolutely blown away at the opportunity and we're so excited.
I can't sleep at night. It's like the night before Christmas. I'm like, oh my God.
We're a pretty recent band. We've only been a group for about 8 or 9 months. So to be playing a festival of this scale already feels huge for us, and we just can't wait to get going.
Patrons prepared to party with their favourite artists.
Probably the presets or Art vs. Science.
Young Gravy for sure.
Venga Boys!
Venga Boys! Venga Boys all the way!
We've got lots of surprises for everybody. We've got about 5 stages. There's 2 new ones. We've got the Silver Tongue stage, which is comedy. We've got yoga, we've got meditation.
A new addition to this year's party is the Bullpen, housing everything from line dancing to cattle truck karaoke, and if you're prepared to saddle up, there's also a mechanical bull. 10,000 tickets have been sold, marking the biggest party in its history.
Party! Party in the Paddock! Party in the Paddock is back!
McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, maritime lovers have lined the River Derwent to catch a glimpse of an iconic waterboard event. The parade officially marks the start of the Australian Wooden Boat Festival, with plenty to see and do over the coming days.
This movie-like display of maritime memorabilia, a highlight on the nautical calendar.
I'm a wooden boat builder and normally I'm out there, so this year I'm on the docks watching.
Some of the boats are just absolute pieces of furniture. To see anyone who's really enthusiastic about something is always good to see.
The sun poking through Hobart's grey skies just in time for the Wooden Boat Festival's parade of sail.
Well, building these boats in the 19th century, Tasmania was the biggest centre of boat building in the colonies.
Deck chairs and binoculars essential for prime viewing.
You can see exactly what's going on. We didn't know, for example, one of the square riggers went past and there's a host of people right up on top of the main mast. What a view they had.
Oh,
And what a view I had of them.
Only half of this year's 450 entrants secured a spot in the parade, with 150 other vessels turned away from the festival completely due to a lack of waterfront space.
We judge them based on things like the history, the build, the aesthetics, and the designer.
The Sydney hub is Soren Larson, one of those lucky to make the cut.
We missed the other year, so we're really chomping at the bit to be here.
One day of festivities down, 3 to go. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
The 42 finalists for this year's Glover Prize have been announced. A record number of entries were received for the prestigious Landscape Art Prize. Of the finalists, half are Tasmanian, 20 are from interstate and 1 from America. The winner will be announced on Friday, March 10, with the artist taking home $75,000.
The Jack Jumpers will touch down in New Zealand tonight after a stunning 87-79 win over Cairns in the NBL Playoffs. Milton Doyle starred with 25 points, while Isaac White had a night to remember. Tasmania is through to the semi-finals, which begins on Sunday.
The march is gaining momentum and it feels all too familiar.
Shot clock at 1. It's good. Wow. And first team all NBL.
Our guys are relentless. They bent, but they didn't break. For our group to do it in 2 years, back to back, is just a great credit to the organisation.
Roth had every reason to feel ecstatic. Deep in the snake pit, the Jack Jumpers took the sting out of the Taipans early with a 25-16 first term.
McVeigh from outside, yes!
That lead growing in the second, the margin going beyond double digits. But the home side weren't throwing in the towel.
Nice pass for McCall on the move.
Cairns then turned the screws, scoring 16 of the first 22 points in the third term to take the lead. But like the coach said, they didn't break. Doyle's work from the paint switched the momentum, while Isaac White packed a punch off the bench.
He drives, and that's a wonderful finish with the left hand.
He's a classic example of a guy just waiting and doing the right things, and when his time came, he stepped through the door.
Scott calls my name randomly, so I just got to be ready so that I can make the most of that opportunity.
And that he did, with a venomous 18 points.
Tasmania spread the floor. White buries it.
A case of no Majet, no worries from the three-point line. Tasmania shooting at 47% from the paint, compared to the Kansas' woeful 22%. The Taipans tailed up on their home court.
McVeigh pick and pop 3. Massive.
A semi-final showdown with the Breakers and a shot at another grand final series awaits. The effort worth a few cigars.
If I had 10 of them, I'd smoke 10 of them, but I don't. But I got a few.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmanian News.
Meanwhile, Josh Majet is recovering from his fractured cheekbone, with Scott Roth confirming he's had surgery. Despite the operation, the import still joined in on the celebrations.
We just had a quick FaceTime with him. He's just gotten out of surgery and a little droggy, but it was great to see his face. And
Majet is unlikely to play again this season. Tim Payne and Ben McDermott are among those selected for Tasmania's first Sheffield Shield match since the Big Bash break. A 12-man squad has been named for their clash against the winless New South Wales side. McDermott has returned from a stint in South Africa's T20 competition, while Payne is expected to cover for Jake Doran. Matthew Wade, however, is unavailable as he's still overseas. The first ball is at the SCG tomorrow morning at 10:30. Meanwhile, Team Tasmania clashed with Victoria today in the National Cricket Inclusion Grand Final. It's off the back of 4 out of 5 wins at this week's championships in Brisbane. The Grand Final showdown is a first for a Tasmanian team at the event. Unfortunately, they didn't come away with a win this year, losing by 8 wickets. Dunkeld has lived up to its favourite status, toughing it out to win the Tasmanian Derby at Elwick. A boil-over appeared on the cards when the field turned for home, with the Patrick Payne-trained gelding blocked from the front. However, jockey Harry Coffey found a gap and the gelding took its chance, storming home to win the race. Dunkeld paid $1.14 for the win. And with the Hobart Cup on this weekend, tonight's Friday Flashback is to the 1995 edition of the race. That year there was a big push to start a men's fashions on the field, back in the era when Cup Day was held on Australia Day.
As the Northwest marked Australia Day 1995 with wood shopping and Launceston a citizenship ceremony. Hobart headed for Elwick. 12,000 flocked to the racetrack in the days where you'd bring your own esky, put your bets on with money in a now long gone design, and when Fashions on the Field was open solely to ladies. But change was coming, and there was a straightforward motive.
But although there was plenty of stylish women, organisers say men don't come up to scratch, and they're keen to introduce a men's fashion section at next year's race to entice them to dress a little better.
Still, mullets were in, and the binoculars were out as the main event took place.
They're coming at it, Darcher on the outside, Courtly Way's grabbed the lot of them, Courtly Way on the outside, Darcher, Courtly Way.
6-year-old brown gelding Courtly Way, ridden by Kevin Dodge and trained by George Blacker, was the 1995 champion, his one and only Hobart Cup. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmanian News.
Good evening. Heavy rain for parts of the east coast today. Launceston the top at 27, 20 in Hobart, a top of 24 for Devonport, Burnie 23. And warm across the state, Flinders Island and Bushy Park 26, 24 for Strawn and King Island. Low Head, Friendly Beaches and Grove all reach 23 and 18 in Laowini. Areas of cloud covered the state today with embedded thunderstorms over the northeast, bringing heavy falls to the St Helens area. Further out, Tropical Cyclone Freddy is stretching over the Indian Ocean and severe Tropical Cyclone Gabrielle tracks over the Coral Sea, bringing hazardous surf for parts of Queensland. And there's some thunderstorm activity over the tropical north and parts of New South Wales, Victoria and Tasmania. Tomorrow, a trough will extend from Tasmania over to WA, with a monsoon trough lying over the tropical north, and the two cyclones will move further away from each side of the country. East to south-easterly winds of 10 to 20 knots, shifting more westerly about the northwest in the evening. A shower or two and 25 in Hobart tomorrow. Medina partly cloudy and 26. Similar conditions and 25 at Oatlands. Sunny and a top of 30 degrees in Launceston. Devonport 25. Laowini partly cloudy and 22. Mostly sunny in Burnie. Strawn sunny and 26. Partly cloudy for Marrawar with a top of 25. St Helens partly cloudy and Swansea and Orford both cloudy and 23. And tomorrow UV sits at a high 10. Showers for most of the state on Sunday. Possible afternoon thunderstorms about the northeast. Monday fine apart from some light showers about the west and northeast. And showers about the west and far south on Tuesday, clearing in the afternoon, fine elsewhere. Sunny in Brisbane, Canberra and Sydney tomorrow. Melbourne 29, partly cloudy in Adelaide, a top of 39 for Alice Springs. Right now in Hobart it's 19, still warm in Launceston 24, Devonport 22. Plenty happening around the state this weekend, Kim. Hopefully the weather stays all nice and clear.
It is a big one. Thank you very much, Victoria. And that is all your news for this Friday. We'll be back later with updates. Thanks for your company this evening. Good night.